As ESR starts its 5th season of GT3 racing, we open a new series of touring car racing. 3 manufacturers and 10 circuits from across Europe and the US. Here's a little bit of what to expect in this upcoming season here at Evolution Sim Racing TCR Season 1. Good evening everybody, and welcome back to the Evolution Sim Racing YouTube channel, where tonight we host our championship defining final round of the Evolution Sim Racing Touring Car Championship here at the wonderfully technical Portimao circuit in the Algarve of Portugal. A track which will separate our champions from our runners-up as we look ahead to the culmination of what has been 2 months of thrilling championship action before we will be all said and done in about 2 hours time. Ahead of the drivers tonight then, 15 corners around this 4.6 kilometre circuit, 9 to the right and 6 to the left, and it's a track known for its significant elevation changes, which will make for some risky overtaking but also some great wheel-to-wheel action. And we pay particular attention to our 4 championship protagonists as championship leaders Wojtek Strudovic and James Howarth look to defend their championship lead against their rivals Mateusz Pensela and Max Nevinciani. So before we head to trackside, let's take a look for the final time at the sponsors of this series. So first up, as always, it's Kame, the home and building automation experts providing integrated high-tech solutions for private homes, public venues and urban spaces. The GP2 Group, a management consultancy firm specialising in business acquisitions, property management and developments. AB designs bespoke sim racing liveries designed to your specification across all the leading sim racing titles, including iRacing and ACC. And finally, Get Good, offering coaching and guidance via a new online self-paced learning package, which is accessible, in-depth and effective. So if you're interested in improving your iRating, then be sure to get in touch with Get Good, and all the rest of the links are available in the ESR Discord server.
Do you want to improve at a quicker pace? Check out getgoodracing.com. I've coached hundreds of drivers, from real-life racers to sim enthusiasts, who experience rapid improvement after just 1 session. And while investing in top-notch hardware is great, imagine how much more you can elevate your experience by adding coaching to the mix. My methods are practical, aiming to break down complex concepts into easily digestible bits that are simple to understand. You can find reviews of the sessions I've conducted on the Fiverr link provided in the video description. Let's elevate your racing skills together. Do you want to improve at a quicker pace? Check out the Get Good course. Instead of just understanding concepts, you'll learn how to implement them directly into your driving. What makes it effective is the approach and practical drills. Together, we're gonna focus on breaking down those complex concepts into small digestible bits that are simple to understand. Everything from the course was tested and refined during the years in coaching sessions, so what I ended up with was the ones that I saw were the most effective. Let's elevate your racing skills together.
Okie dokie then, so we are back and here for the final time before the end of the season. A few little technical difficulties to iron out just in time before the session started. But we're here and everything has gone to plan, so fingers crossed it stays how it's looking right now and we don't have any more before the end of the night. Just under 10 minutes to go until the drivers get underway with the qualifying session. But first up, as always, we can take a look at the championship order. So first up, as always, the pro class. Wojtek Swidovic is in the prime position to seal that championship tonight. He's on 998 points. Now, both he and Matthias both missed the round last week at Hockenheim. However, that hasn't been enough for anybody else to come within a chance or a shot at taking the championship. So it's Matthias who is the only man who can disrupt Wojtek at the top. And looking, I do see them both there on track. So it'll have to be quite something to overturn that 63-point gap. And really, Matthias is relying on a terrible night in the office for Wojtek, if anything is to happen there. Luke Lucchese, he's all but cemented, well, he has actually cemented a third place, unless, again, for a catastrophic night, theoretically it's still possible, but very, very unlikely. So, top three likely to stay how they are, and Johan Ferry is now sitting pretty in P4, so his final half of the season has been absolutely impeccable, really, compared to the first half, missing 2 rounds and getting 2 DNFs in the opening 5 weeks, and then ever since that he's been having podiums and race wins pretty much every week since. Keep an eye on him to see if he can disturb anything toward the front. Perhaps he can get himself up onto the podium one more time. Jeremy Chioka still up there in P5 for G-League, but closely followed by Mr. Ian Stitchbury, who is only 7 points behind him in the Aura Motorsports machine. Yain hasn't been in the top 5 all season and with just 2 podiums to his name. We'll have to see if he's got the minerals tonight to have one of his strong repeat performances at the expense of Jeremy Chioka. James Hallman, 2 race wins. He was the overall beneficiary of Pentala and Svidovic missing out on the session last week, and the form ever since he missed the opening round and then 2 subsequent, but since then he's got plenty of wins, 6 in total so far this season. And for example, when you look at the likes of Lucchese, who's yet to step on the top step, the difference in points when you miss a few nights worth of racing can be quite significant by the end of the season. Jimmy Vyman still there. He hasn't had a podium to his name all season, been very, very unlucky throughout the course of the season. He is still only 52 points off a top 5, so that could still all happen for Jimmy tonight, and he and his teammate Jeremy still doing well in the teams, and that could really be helped tonight. I think they've been in 5th for the whole season pretty much, so let's see when we get to that slide if there's the potential for them to get into the top 4. Unlikely, but it could happen. Ryan Otten's next for Alpha 1 Esports. He's in P9 and he's 46 points behind. He's had the pace and he's got a few podiums in the last couple of rounds, but not much more given there. Duncan Kirby, he's been away the last 2 rounds. I had a word with him over the weekend. I think the intention was for him to be here, but I don't see him with us tonight just yet. Paul Cowlishaw and Matt Hoyland still down there trying to get their hands on one of those trophies, but again, 60 points and then a massive drop off to Mr. Hoyland, so he will not be budging anything at all. However, Cowlishaw could get himself into the top 10. Is he with us tonight? Quick scan. No, he's not actually. He said in the chat earlier that he wouldn't be with us, so him and Kirby probably won't be swapping places. And now, as for the AM standings, James Howarth still leads the way with a margin of 123 points. Now, this is where some more maths is going to have to come into things later on, because just like Wojtek and Matthias, Max is the only one who can dislodge James from the top step of the championship, or the, well, top step of the championship, not quite, but from the top of the championship standings. And James, crucially, is not with us tonight. This has been planned for some time. We knew that James was not going to be racing. And from what my maths recalls last week, I think Max would need at least, in fact, I think he needs to be on the podium pretty much every race. Something like 2 P2s and a P3 will do it for Max, but obviously if he gets a win, then that helps him in the early rounds. There'll be plenty of drivers who also fancy themselves at the top of the of the podium, and one of those guys will be Andrew Fellows. He got himself up there for the first time in the season, which actually took me by surprise. For the first time all last season was the first time last week for Mr. Fellows, so let's see if he can end his campaign on a high and secure that third spot with some good results tonight. James Bostock is back. He missed us last week, and he's only 21 points behind Mr. Fellows, so battle for P3 and P4 well and truly on. And we can't really write out the 2 flatline cars out of that battle either. Mr. Rob Smith and Oliver Lumsden doing well in the teams, but also doing well to try and get into the top 5. We could, again, theoretically see both of those guys dislodge Mr. Bostock and get themselves both into the top 5. Hussein Sarkadesla will also fancy his chances. However, they've also got the teams to worry about, so we don't want to be overly optimistic when it comes to looking at these things. Jumping for position with a chance of an incident might be better just to stay where you are and bring home consistent points for the team. Reverse grid tonight will be crucial. It is every week, but now that it's the last opportunity, it will be even more important. Dennis Collar next. He's slightly out of the running, but again, he is with us tonight. The Dutchman currently in P8. Only the second privateer that we have, I think, in the AM class, Mr. Max Nevenchani, the other. He's on 598 points, and close behind him, the third Suma GP2 Honda car of Gareth Newton, who, again, had a strong result last week, P7, P8 and P6, bringing home some consistent points for the team, as we said, which are battling away for the team's championship. Robin Aston in P10, the sister team for Hyundai, who's had a good second half of the season but missed us last week, and Rob Mackay and Daniel Saunders still in with a shout of a trophy, particularly Mr. Mackay there, only 9 points off the back of Aston, so lots and lots going on up and down the field tonight. As for the team's championship then, we can see really it's a pretty much straight shot between the RD Sim Sports guys and the Suma guys. And a quick look, if I see Sutherland, do I see Sutherland? Yes, I do. So I think all 3 of the... No, they're not, actually, just 2. Just Penciller and Sutherland currently in the session for RD Sim Sports, but all 3 Suma drivers should also be with us. Do I see Mr. Newton? Yes, I do. So a great opportunity then with an extra car on the field at the moment. In fact, there you go. James Holman sitting in the pit lane as we speak. So it's now a straight shot. 3 on each team to fight for those remaining points. 1,699 points for the current leaders of the championship. 1647 down there in P2. And Flatline Racing will probably struggle to overcome that 80 or so point margin, as they are missing one of their drivers tonight. DXT Audi still hopeful of finishing in the top 5, which I'm sure they will do. Missing James Howarth, of course, tonight, but the responsibility falls to Hoyland and Francois Brandet. And then the 2-man army, who we've referred to time and time again, looks like they're going to finish the season strong and stay in the top 5, where they've been pretty much all season. RDSA, SEMA GP2 Hyundai, DXT Honda, yes, DXT Honda, Octane Racing, MRC and BRD down there at the bottom in P11 in the team's standings. And a quick look then at the overall instant ratings. These are nearly decided now. At the moment it's Wojtek, Yayan and Mateus, Robin Aston, Max Nevenchani and Andrew Fellows who are going to take home those $15 vouchers. And right on the money, within a half a second, if we're talking racing terms, as the practice session comes to a close. So we're going in blind, which I kind of like. We don't know what the results were from the practice session, and to be quite honest, I'm not really going to even show them. So the drivers then have 4 laps. These are the final 4 qualifying laps of the TCR season. We've had 10 circuits so far. We'll do a quick summary at the end of the evening, but it's been a great chance for us to see what these cars are made of, and it's been a good opportunity for ESR as well to, let's say, broaden the horizons and put on a second series, which is something that we've not done previously. After 5 successful seasons in GT3 cars, we now conclude our first season of TCR. So here's Mr. Hoyland then, as he makes his way around the circuit, one of the admins of the series alongside myself, Mr. Bostock and Mr. Mackay. And I'm sure we'll speak to some, if not all of those guys, later on toward the end of the broadcast. We haven't really done any talking just yet on the complexity of this circuit. For those of you that don't know, in my opinion, this is one of the trickiest circuits. Corners, cambers, elevation changes, tightening tracks really as you go around, particularly turn 1. I'd be really surprised if we didn't see 4 wide at the start of at least one of the races going into turn 1. It's such an inviting corner, the track's so wide, and then it narrows quite a lot. I believe, this might be wrong, but I believe the narrowest and the widest point of the circuit are nearly 3 meters apart from one another. So the circuit really, really tightening at some stages of it. Hoyland coming through one of the trickiest corners on the track. It's a blind, uphill, crested right-hander where you kind of got... well, in the touring cars, actually, I'm not too sure. It'll be interesting as we ride on board with some of these guys to see how they're tackling that. But we saw Hoyland there not using all of the track on the left-hand side. A little bit uncertain, especially as the car mounts the crest. Very easy to feel the car lighten and then lose it at the back. Here he comes then, on to his first flying lap, so we'll see what Mr. Hoyland has up his sleeves as he sets away now down the main pit straight. Quite a long pit straight actually, not as long as some. Now down into turn 1, can be very, very cautious using that outside curb. It does buy you some time, but if you get the tyre in the wrong part of the curb, it can really, really throw you offline. Now slowing it down into turn 3 and the first part of the uphill section. Another blind corner, left-hander. Watch out for the opening few laps of the races here. You could crest that and find somebody sideways. Hopefully not on the racing line. And now the heaviest braking zone on the track. It's down into the hairpin. Turn 5, Hoyland there just getting a clip off the sausage curb. That'll slow him down on the exit, crucially uphill. So important to get the traction right coming out of that corner, or it can affect you all the way through until this apex here. And Hoyland again pushing the bounds up onto 2 wheels momentarily. And now let's watch on as we see the elevation change in full effect. Down and up, and this was the corner that we were talking about earlier. Up at the crest at turn 10. Pick your braking points, see how far you want to go wide to trust the car, and Hoyland there. Unfortunate, kept it tight, asked too much at turn-in. And that is him around ever so slightly, and that lap will not be Matt's quickest. Wojtek Svidovic is about to cross the line. Let's see what time he posts. It's a triple sector purple. It's a triple purple sector even. And it's a 1:53.5, 8 off his nearest rival. So a great opening lap and setting down the tone for the rest of the drivers tonight. Johan Ferry, Ryan Ottenzam, Willem Boyter, the first into the top 4. And Andrew Fellows provisionally setting the fastest lap in the AM class. And there's Matt Hoyland's time, 3.5 seconds down. With that mistake at turn 10, he will definitely bring some of that back. A few technical issues as well earlier on that I mentioned. It seemed as though the overlays and the game itself were lacking. I've done a few things to try and aid that. Turned the graphics down ever so slightly. So fingers crossed that doesn't cause us any bother as the night goes on. Hopefully not. It seems like it's handling itself better than it did a bit earlier. I just fear a little bit for turn 1 when all the cars are in one place at one time. But there's a little trick in SDK which I've used, which will hopefully alleviate some of that stress. So here's Wojtek now through turn 11. Seems as though he's done that okay. Not much of a wobble at all. And now, down the banking and up toward turn 13 now. Again, tricky. You've got to really let the rear slide out to get it rotated here. And now you're going to pick your braking point. Oh, and he's backed out of this lap, has Wojtek, so he's going to prepare himself ahead for his next one. Lucchese making his way around on his second lap now. Just crossed the halfway point as he heads through turn 9. Well, let's see what line he takes through here. It's a little bit wider, but still keeping it away from that left-hand curb. And now down and back up through the sweeping section. Casey down there in P8 at the moment. I've just banged my funny bone off my chair. That didn't feel very nice. And here he comes then. Mr. Casey gets his foot down and he's now steamrolling across the line. Matthias Penteler demotes Johan Furey and puts himself onto the front row of the grid. Is Luke Lucchese going to improve that time? It was 1.6 seconds off. And it looks as though that was an invalid lap by Luke Lucchese. Here's the first of the Suma cars, who's currently heading around the circuit, currently in P3. And quite a short AM class, it seems, tonight. A couple of guys yet to set lap times. Danny Weir, Francois, Owen and Dennis. So, again, it looks like it's going to be about 12 in each class. Which, to be honest, as the season comes to a close, we've seen throughout our previous 5 seasons that the numbers do drop off. You can't blame people if they're not fighting for anything. And sometimes they think, what's the point? But for those that are, and for those that absolutely love to turn up, they are still here tonight, and so are we. Dennis Collar within 1/10 of a second of Andrew Fellows now, as he sets off on only his second lap actually. So Andrew's about to finish his second and set away on his third, but Dennis is a lap behind and has the pace in the bag already. Max Nevincharny crosses the line. He's 1.2 seconds. He's a tenth and a bit away. And Andrew then setting a new fastest lap timer to 1:55.784. So he the man to beat at the moment. Mr. Bostock, is he going to have anything to say about that? It's a green sector 1, but it doesn't look like it's an improvement overall. Oliver Lumsden and Hussein Sarika Desler there up into the second row of the grid. So currently 2 cars inside the top 5 for the Suma guys, with their teammate Gareth down there in P7. Very strong at the moment for the team's championship challenges. Luke Lucchese has just promoted himself up into the top 5. Dennis Collar with a personal best middle sector. Let's see how he's getting on and see if he can challenge Mr. Fellows at the top. And he does indeed. Look at that. We thought, you know, he joined the track later than everybody else, and he immediately put down a great lap time within a 10th of a second of Fellows, and on his next attempt goes over 3/10 clear. So great news for Dennis Collar, who provisionally takes pole position in the AM class and is going slow on this lap, but he does have one more to go. That's Andrew. He's done. So Andrew Fellows will not start on the pole position. 3/10 away. Mr. Nevin Charney is also done. And so is Mr. Bostock. And Newton. Is he coming round? Yes, he is. And he is up on what is his personal best lap. It's not a class best, but it is a personal best. And he will likely get himself into the top 5 potentially here. Let's see. He'll probably beat Rubino. He does. And he does get himself into the top 5. So it is a third row lockout for the Suma team battling for the championship with all 3 of them in the top 6. Potentially one of their best of the season. Hoyland there, really struggling. 3 invalidated laps for the pro driver. And as we can see there, 3 seconds off the pace, which was about the time that he set when we watched him going wide, or going, you know, deep and drifting a little bit through turn 11. Here's his teammate though. Oh, and he's gone off wide again, so that is going to be... Oh no, he's still got 1 more lap. Francois still has 1 more lap. And Dennis Collar, he is not done. He knows that pole position... Well, actually, will he know? He may not know, but we know that pole position is wrapped up for Dennis, but he is getting all the practice in that he can get, staying off that outside curve, and that's probably going to be an invalid lap. He just ran wide. Is he going to continue pushing here? No, he's not. That's going to be all for Mr. Dennis. However, here is Francois Grandet, so we have 2.5 minutes left in this qualifying session, and this is the only driver that we can report on at the moment. Everybody else finished. Wojtek cleared Pentela by 3/10, and he's 8/10 away from Lucchese in P4. Quite tight down there to Holman. And then another gap to Weimann, Ottens and Beuter. And then Sutherland and Hoyland, unfortunately, in their own class there. And that's Francois done as well. He must have felt that he made a mistake. It didn't look too bad. But he finishes down there at the back of his class. And with 2 minutes to go, and nobody on the track, Holman is still running, but his session is complete. So he will start where he is now, in P6. Let's take a look at the qualifying in total. So you can see there, Sutherland and Hoyland down there in P19. So he's sharing the track with pretty much all. In fact, it is all. Himself, Brandet, Weir and Mackay will all be in the same chat, no doubt. And those guys sharing the back 2 rows of the grid. So it's a slow one for the DXT lot tonight. And of course, Owen Seward is there as well, but he hasn't qualified. So himself, Josh Ostick and Jan Stitchbury of Aura Motorsports will start even further down in P23, 24 and 25. And that is it for Holman as well. So now's probably a good time to mention that concluding the final race tonight, we will hold a short live draw, which will be done virtually. Potentially plans to have done it in reality, but instead we opted for the virtual approach for the easiness. And so we will do that after we finish with the interviews. I'm not going to do too many more than usual, granted that we have people showing up for one, but we'll certainly speak to the guys at the top of each championship, especially the champions, if we can get a hold of them. And then we'll get underway shortly afterwards and draw 2 names out of the wheel or out of the hat and see who's going to get their hands on those 2 vouchers. The eligibility for that is to attend 8 of the 10 championship rounds. And we sorted everybody's eligibility ahead of the session, so we know exactly who is missing and who is not. And that will conclude qualifying then. So we can take a look quickly at the grid for tonight's race. Wojtek Svidovic, the 180 machine, starts once again on pole position. Matheus Penttila in the second row of the grid, 0.3 of a second behind him. Johan Furey and Luke Lucchese on the second rows, Jeremy Chioka and James Howarth on the third. Jimmy Vyman and Ryan Otten share the fourth, and Willem Boyter sharing it with the AM-class poleman on the fifth row in there for P10 for Dennis Collar. Andrew Fellows and Max Nevinciani next, with Rob Sutherland in amongst the AMs. Hussein Sarkadesla, Gareth Newton and James Bostock, the three Suma GP2 Honda teammates there, starting side by side at the start of this race, with Steve Rubino, Oliver Lumsden, Matt Hoyland and Rob Mackay, the top 20. And Danny Weir, Francois Brandet, Ian Stitchbury, Josh Ostick and Owen Seward, the three Aura Motorsports. So not a great time for the Aura or the DXT guys there tonight. So the cars are getting themselves ready. And we will soon have lights, a few more cars left to grid. There will be just under 18.5 minutes of racing action ahead of us once we get underway. Remember what we said earlier about the chance for this to turn into a 4-wide scenario going into turn 1. That is exacerbated by the fact that we have standing starts. Anyone could get a bad start, anyone can get a good start. And that will determine where in the field we might see this 4-wide action. It may not happen, but I've seen it happen many, many times before. Here we go then. The final driver is on the grid. And we have the 5 lights ahead of us tonight before we get underway for the final time this session. And it's a good start by Luke Lucchese in particular, but Wojtek looks as though he will hang on going into the first corner into the lead of the race. Wojtek, then Penttila, then it's Johan Furey and Luke Lucchese with one of the G-League cars around the outside. Otten's going side by side. There's Willem Boyter and Andrew Fellows, I think. Has he got up past Dennis Collar? Yes, he has. Dennis Collar has had a drama and he is down the order. Right on board here with James Bostock as they make their way up through turn 4. And there he is now, just running wide off the circuit. So it's Dennis Collar who is down 8 positions. He's had a nightmare start there. And Matt Hoyland, who's had a great start. We see him just here up the inside of Nevinciani. A pro driver getting past the AM-class championship battler, I was going to say. But he has got Mr. Bostock for company as these guys head now up through turn 7. And Mr. Bostock looking to hang it around the outside. But Max Nevinciani does what he needs to do on the inside line and keeps that position. James Holman, he's also had a crash. He's down there in P23 now. Let's bring up for you the order of proceedings as the guys get around. There's some smoke there, somebody around. Nevinciani has lost some positions. He's lost out to Bostock, and I think that's Hussein now. No, it's not. He's lost out to Hussein and now Gareth Newton. And they've got Dennis Collar in behind them, who will be looking to get on with things. He knows he's got the pace. And he looked to go around the outside there. Did Dennis Collar. It's right on board with him. He's just about left the room there. That would have been Max's night over if he'd came over to the left-hand side any further than that. Matheus Penttila, no, he's gone. He's in the pit lane. What has happened here? That could be the championship all over for Matheus Penttila. Let's see what happens. He must just have damage. Or is he going to call it a night? Let's see then. He won't have a drive-through already, that's for sure. And so then, that means that we have Jeremy Chioka currently battling for P3, and he's got a nice little margin there down to Willem Boyter. But Wojtek got away well, and he's maintained that lead. It's 1.6 seconds down to Johan Furey, and then nearly 4 down there to Chioka. So 17 minutes to go. A very, very tricky circuit, as we allude to. But Wojtek doing everything he has to at the moment. James Bostock leading his class. He must have had an absolute lightning start. I wonder if we can go back and check out what happened to James, actually, at the start. Oh, and Hoyland, he's got damage, I think, on the inside front right. And he's got Luke Lucchese for company now. Let's watch on these guys. It's Andrew Fellows, who's up past Hoyland and Lucchese, so those guys have also had an incident at the start, and you can see the damage to the front and the rear of Hoyland's car, so that Audi really, really struggling at the moment. But is it going to struggle enough to hold back, to stay in front of Luke Lucchese? Probably not. Hoyland's got to try and get himself in front of Andrew Fellows, just holding, waiting for the throttle, waiting for the grip. And then he got his foot down a lot more aggressively than Fellows, and he will get that move done as he steps to the inside line. And there's Lucchese, who may also consider a move into turn 1. Yes, he is. There he goes. And so does Sutherland in behind. Well done by all of them there, really. And here comes Hussein, thinking about it now. Up the inside of Fellows, a disastrous couple of corners there for Andrew. He is still on the inside line, though. Room has been given by Huss, but he up to P2 in class. So at the moment, it's a 1-2 for the Suma team, doing what they need to do to help their chances in the championship. A little bit of a drift there in front. I'm not sure who that was. That's Rob Sutherland, who's fully gone off the track. Not good for RD Simsport there. He's rejoined in behind Andrew Fellows. And Luke Lucchese putting Hoyland now under all sorts of pressure. Look at that stricken DXC. It's basically a new character. Now, look, is he not going to be able to get past Hoyland? At the moment, Willem Boyter has been taken up the inside by Jimmy Vyman as they headed through turn 3. And now, around the outside, and it looks as though Boyter will get the run. And he'll have the inside line as they head down in toward the hairpin. Lucchese is past Hoyland, just a few cars back. Let's go back to Willem Boyter up the inside. There he goes. He's got Ottens in behind. He's got Chioka around his outside, Vyman, around his outside with his next target. Eyes set on Jeremy Chioka. He's got that move done before they reach the turning point at turn 7. Just preparing in front of me my notes for the driver points to make sure that I do my best to work out things on the fly. Max is 123 points behind. I think Pentler was 63 points behind. I'm just going to double check that as we go on. And Hussein now still battling away with Andrew Fellows. This is for the lead. This is for P2 in the race. You can see Bostock just left the picture there. He's going to have Hoyland and Lucchese for company very, very shortly. A few frame drops there. Apologies for that. Fingers crossed that improves as the night goes on. So, Suma guys down 52 points. I'll do my best as things go on. I was going to earlier go and see how this man was getting on at the front. Lucchesi has passed him. He's got Hoyland next. But I'm not sure how he really got up into that position. But I'm seeing here. Let's quickly go back and see from his race start and see if we can make anything of this, if anything happened toward the back. He gets a great launch off the line, no wheel spin at all. He's already passing 3-4 drivers there. And then as we head down toward turn 1, yeah, just picking up the drivers as he goes here, James. And who is that? Is that Fellows or Collar perhaps in front of him there? He exits up and over the curb. And does he perhaps get one more into the hairpin? Let's see, is it going to be a late break and move? No, it's not. Good start at the front by James I. Would have capitalised off that one for one. But a great start, and he leads the race at present. So Pentala is back on the track. He's still racing down there in P13. And a nice 4-second gap for the M-Class race leader to handle. Just 10 minutes to go. And thankfully, that 4-second gap is to his teammate, who will not put up much of a challenge when it comes to thinking about the points. Hoyland getting very close in behind. Kind of offset his run there ever so slightly. Great gaggle of cars here going into turn 1 there. Steve Rubino up the inside of Gareth Newton. Oh, and a little bit of a wobble there. Massive over the curb there. That's going to upset Holman, and he could have there taken Rubino out with the understeer that he got off of that curb. He's got Jan Stitchbury and Josh Ostick going side by side there with Nevin Charney. So not the result that Nevin Charney needs at the moment if he's going to capitalise on Howarth missing the session tonight. He's got 2 Aura Hondas around him. Breaking down now into the hairpin. And great 8 cars here, all in quick succession with one another. Now toward the front of the Pro Class, it's Jeremy Chioka, Jimmy Vyman and Ryan Ottens. And in this gaggle of cars, it's down to Jimmy Vyman to hold on and prevent Willem Boyter from getting through. The 2 South Africans. So Stitchbury got past Nevin Charney and his teammate, and now he's putting pressure on Steve Rubino, I think. Yes, he has just got past Steve Rubino. There's some sort of battle going on here because the cars are jumping all over the place. Flat cap back through on Aura Motorsports, but Aura Motorsports with the inside line. And the 122 machine may be able to get the run out here. Let's see. Around the outside, is Steve going to come into frame? Maybe not, you know. Yayan could have that move done. Yes, he does. And what about his teammate then? Is he going to have the run? He's going to have the line, that's for sure. Willem Boyter and Jimmy Vyman have got the moves done. And Andrew Fellows in the pit lane. Not sure what's happened to Mr. Fellows, but here's Ostick up the inside at turn 1, running very wide, Steve Rubino, and he loses the position to Nevin Charney now. He gets ahead at turn 3. Yes, so there's Fellows in the pit lane as well, so that's Pentala and Fellows. I mean, Andrew was never fighting for the title, but that's still 2 drivers from the top 3 in their respective classes. Really, really struggling down there, resulting in a pit stop. Oh, Stitch momentarily past Gareth Newton, but Gareth is going to get the run out of the corner on the switchback as a result of him going deep there. A little late chink there. Yai in a class, a battle outside of their classes. And Gareth off the road, and he's now under pressure from his class rival. Currently an absolute great standing here for Suma, but Max gets his nose up the inside. It's a great move, and he is now up into P4. But Newton might think about coming back at him, but no, unable to. Great action. We've got Boita, Ottens and Chioka still going ahead. Lots and lots of action up and down both of the classes here tonight. In a frantic opening race. Remember, we've still got 2 more to go. 5 minutes, 6 minutes in this one. And Willem Boita now down the order a little bit. He and Ottens still in this battle. Got Jimmy Vyman around the gearbox of the RDSA machine. And we could have an opportunity for 3 wide going into the hairpin. Boita just backs out a little bit, comes back over to the outside line. He's going to look to get a great run here. Who's going to come out on top? Ottens has to go the long way around. And what a sensational move there by Jimmy Vyman to take both of those guys, setting it up at the exit of 4 and seeing it through as they head through turn 7. That is going to be Vyman in that position at least until the end of the lap. A great set of moves there by the G League machine. A little send there by Holman. At the inside of Dennis Collar, who won't be too pleased by that because he was battling away for a podium. Well, he is still battling away for a podium. He was battling away for a P2 finish to try and take some points away from the Suma guys. And I wonder what's going through the head of all 3 of them. Bostock, Sarika Desla and Nevin Charney. Minutes to go. We find ourselves where we were last time, and this time it's not 3 wide. It might be 2 wide though. Oh, when he comes back, switch positions late just before the braking zone. That's a big send by Ryan Ottens, who does get it slowed down nicely and gets that position ahead of Jimmy Vyman up into P4. This battle will continue for the rest of the race, I'm sure. And all the while, Luke Lucchese will bring that gap of 2 seconds down lap after lap. And it's a great run there by Vyman. He's got his nose ahead and a car ahead where he takes that position. Very, very tricky here as these guys head over the crest at 10. Ottens is back in front. On the outside goes Vyman. Ottens shuts the door, rightly so. Lucchese now within a second. Dennis Collar putting Hussein under pressure, and Newton also within a second of Nevin Charney. So 3 of those Suma drivers in the top 5. Could be a great haul for those guys. At the run now, Vyman. This battle is going to continue for quite some time. And we could see Boita getting a good run out of the corner here with these 2 jostling for position ahead. Let's just summarise on the positions gained and lost as we come into the final few laps here. It's Fellows and Lumsden down big in the AM class, with Bostock up 5 places. And Matthias Pensela, the biggest loss in the Pro class. And Willem Boita actually Oh, and they do door bang. And Lucchese, look at this. We spoke about Lucchese. He could get all three of these guys here. If they're not careful, he's taken his teammate Willem Boyter at the first time of asking. Those guys getting a little bit close together. Causing contact at the exit of the hairpin. I think it was on Chioka from what I was looking at. I was looking at the timing sheet, however. Ottens runs wide through some already made tyre marks there. Hoyland off the track. Bostock's gone through. Where, see, look at that. Boyter's just dropped off the back of this pack a little bit in that lap. And Lucchese looks like he's got a little bit of a tighter line, and that's going to allow him to open up the door here through turn 14. I think now then we're going to see the white flag as these guys cross over the start-finish line for the final time before we look ahead at the consolation race. And at the moment it's going to be James Bostock, the only man to get himself in the reverse order from the AM class, so great news for their championship. And Lucchese, oh, a little bit of a tyre screech, that's going to slow him down. Is Boyter now going to get the run on his teammate? It looks as though he might, but he's not going to get there in time for the braking zone, or is he? No, just think about it, but backs out just about. Max Nevinciani with the fastest lap in his class, a 1:55.7. Here is Wojtek. It was passed, look at that, to rub salt into the wounds. That is Matthias Penteler, the championship challenger. But unfortunately, he's an entire lap down on the pole man, Wojtek Svidovic. And so, wouldn't it be nice if we were seeing these two going toe-to-toe on the final lap? But, alas, that's not what we're watching. Watching another Svidovic masterclass, something that we've seen many, many times already this season. And he gets his night off to the perfect start as he rounds the final corner. And he will get his foot down now. There'll be one last lift before he comes home to win the opening round here at the Portimao circuit. And here he comes, up and over the crest. He knows that that should be it. That is maximum points for Mr. Svidovic in the opening round. And there's Johan Furi. Good podium for him. And Jeremy Chioka finally getting a strong result. Is that his first podium? I'm not entirely sure. Mr. Bostock, he's not had a win in a while. And that is about to be all said and done as he now rounds the final corner. He's got the faster man of Holman, actually, who's going to challenge him to the line, but I don't think it's going to be enough. No, it's not. Mr. Bostock wins the feature in the AM class. Closely, actually. Followed by his teammate. A great result for the Suma team. Hossein Sarakadesla in P2. And there is Dennis Collar, who gets himself another podium. Max Nevinciani with P4. It's not the worst thing. It's some good, strong points, which brings him closer to Howarth. But he will really have to start thinking about a podium before the end of the night. And Gareth Newton too. Strong result for the Suma team. Just going to take a moment and jot down some of these positions. We're immediately on the grid. Where did Nevinciani finish again? He finished in P4. Matthias, he was all the way down there in P13. It's actually Hussein who gets himself on the front row of the grid. So, absolutely great start for the Sumer guys. Just a little bit more to work out and then we'll be good to go. Oh, so we're underway. Sorry about that. A little bit off the beat, but the drivers are away for the Consolation race, and it's going to be Hussein Sarakadazla who gets us underway, but it's a poor start, and already James Holman is through, and he is up into the lead. It's going to be a swarm of pro drivers now chasing after the two Sumer guys, and already the RDSA boys are past Hussein Sarakadazla. James Bostock currently leads in class. That's Hussein looking around the outside of Willem Boyter, who's got Jimmy Vyman and Ryan Ottens for company. He's in a pro sandwich. All the while, Bostock has been able to get away, but he's going to let Lucchese through and gives him plenty of space. Well, let's see, anybody going more than too wide. It's a bit of door banging there between Hussein and one of the G League cars, and here's the two Aura Motorsports drivers heading through cleanly. Everybody else getting through nicely. James Bostock passed now by Willem Boyter, as they all frantically head through the second sector now. Oh, and there's a spin down there at the back. I think everyone's recovered nicely. Nevin Charney, I'm seeing in red. He's dropped down a few places. He's only down one place, actually, from the start. And there's Vyman now under pressure from Svidovic, who's got Ottens closing in on his inside. Svidovic now taking Jimmy Vyman. Danny Weir has had an off at the start. He's down 5 places. Across the line, they all come then. It's James Holman leads Lucchese, leads Boyter. Furry and Svidovic the top 5, with Bostock setting the fastest lap time, 2 seconds quicker than any of his class rivals, his teammate particularly. He's 1.6 seconds clear, and who's that? That's Jeremy Chioka, who's just done very well there to actually keep the car in a straight line. Ryan Ottens just came over ever so slightly, and it looked as though Chioka was gone and done, but he managed to keep it in a straight line. And he's still on the circuit. Ryan now coming over to defend against him again aggressively, taking the inside line down toward the hairpin. They're coming very close. They do make contact, and he's barely going to get that one slowed down. Nearly drove through the back of another driver, and he rejoins ahead of the Aura Motorsports driver of Josh Ostick. Here's Nevin Charney side by side with Lumsden. Steve Rubino ahead on the inside line. That's going to cost him. And that's Lumsden popping in and out. You can see where his car is there. That's a bit of an interesting sight. Lumsden out of the race according to my connection. Dropping back in the timing sheet. So that looks like it's a disconnection for the flatline car, which doesn't do anything for their championship hopes. Wojtek now getting past James, who's still up there in the top 6 on track. He was in the top 5 until the championship leader got past him. And now we can try and stay within the slipstream. Let's see how long James can hang on. He has got his teammate right there in behind him. This is Sarakadazla here. And that's the view that he has of his teammate's rear bumper. Quite the distance. So in the end, I'm sure these guys will hold station. There's Willem Boyter now defending that podium actively from Johan Fourie. 3 South African drivers in the top 4, and 2 of them for RDSA. And James Hallman will actually soon be under pressure from Luc Lucchese, who has yet to win a race. We've been backing him to do it all season. This could be his opportunity within 0.8 of a second. Oh, and there's Boyter and Johan Fourie around, but they're both going to keep it going, and it looks as though they're both going to emerge right next door to each other. And Boyter in behind Bostock, who does get himself through. Let's just take a look and see what happened there. A late send by Fourie. Yeah, put his car where it really didn't need to be. And Boyter there didn't really need to leave any room. He kept his line consistent. And Fourie tried his luck, and it hasn't quite worked out. Although, interestingly, in all that bother, Fourie did actually get past Boyter. As did Solidovic, though, so they've both lost out on the podium position. And that has just brought this gaggle of cars a lot closer together, and Boyter will be fired up for that one. And he's going to get straight on with it by getting past the AM-class leader of James Bostock. And he will have a spring in his step to now chase after Johan Fourie. Keep our eyes out on these two. Hopefully it doesn't get too feisty once Boyter inevitably catches up with the Hyundai. So, just calculating the teams as we go here. And by my calculations, after race 1, Suma looked to lead the team's championship already by 25 points. Now again, I say that informally, but I'm pretty sure that's right. They were only 52 points worse off going into the first race, and as a team they brought home 125 points, whereas the RD Sim Sports Group only brought home 48, which is a net difference of 77. And 77 over 52 is 25, so Suma currently leading the way in the team's championship. 12 minutes to go in this consolation race, and it's still looking very good. In fact, it's an identical set for the Suma guys as things stand. Bostock in P1, Sarah Kadesla in P2, and Gareth Newton in P6, exactly where they all finished this time last round. And who is this? We've got, is that Dennis? It is. It's Matt Hoyland right in behind Matthias Pentela, and they both take Dennis' collar. Ooh, and I thought Hoyland could have understeered there, but he didn't. Very, very good battle, but unfortunately couldn't get himself past. Ryan Otten's here still with Willem Boyter, and that battle's still going ahead, between Willem Boyter and Johan Fourie. And Max Nevincharny, where is he? Let's ride on with Max and talk about where he stands at the moment. So that P4 finish saw him gain 36 points on the vacant Howarth, meaning that 123 point deficit is now down to just 87 points. And so he really needs that result right now. He's going to need 2 P2s, I think, or a P1 and a P3. So this race, I think Nevincharny will therefore need a P3 at worst if he's going to mount a final challenge in the feature. So he's got over 3 seconds to that position. But Dennis will soon be fighting Sarika Desla, so anything could happen. But Max Devonshire now 87 points away from Howarth. There's been an incident for Francois and Owen does dive up the inside and does just spin Francois around. I think that's going into turn 3. And those two will be talking away in the server. I'm not sure if that'll be mixed words or if they'll just be laughing about it, but he did get a little punt and then an extra punt there by Owen Seward as they came to a stop. Now, here he is, the battle that we were talking about earlier. The battle that Nevin Charney will be thinking about. It's Dennis Collar on Hussein Sarika Desla. It's about the only battle that will concern Nevin Charney at the moment. If these two go off the road, then that really does open the door. And we do actually see Luke Lucchese really doing well. Could this be his opportunity to get himself on the front row? He'll know it more than I. And he's running out of races. By the end of tonight, we'll have ran 30 rounds, and I think Luke's been there for every single one of them. And so out of the 30, he needs at least one on the top step. Lots and lots of battles. I'm seeing at least 5 or 6 that we want to keep our eyes on. So the maths that I have in front of me for the AM Class Championship is Howarth is now clear by 87 points over Nevin Charney. And again, quick results would be a P4 and a P1. So things currently swinging in favour of Howarth quite significantly, I would say. Unless something goes really, really bad at the front for the likes of Sarika Desla and Collar. And we'll keep those scores updated and we'll have a bit more time to calculate those during the warm-up ahead of the feature race. But for now, 7.5 minutes to go, and this is not what Lucchese wanted to see in the hunt for Holman. Svidovic has got himself right up in behind the RDSA machine, and it's Wojtek who's now mounting the charge to get on with P1. So the battle for the podium well and truly on. It's 5 seconds down to Furi, who's 2 seconds now clear of Boita. So these guys going all out for the final podium before the feature race tonight. Wojtek now all over the back of Lucchese. Let's see, is he going to put a move on now? Yes, I think he is. Lucchese will be wise to give him the space. He just about gets it slowed down. That rear bumper of the 105 machine. I was praying that contact wasn't made, and it wasn't. And that's 6 places gained by Svidovic, who is through on Lucchese. Not what Luke wanted, really, not what we wanted, or not what I wanted. I would have loved to have seen Lucchese with that opportunity. It yet might come. But as I say, time is running out. Holman now has 2 of the quickest guys in the championship bearing down on him. And Penteler has recovered his drive quite well, and he's up into P9 in class. Stitchbury now putting pressure on Ottens, who defends extremely aggressively all the way up against the pit wall, moves back over to defend a normal inside line, and Yayan gets a lovely switchback, textbook switchback move there. His opponent did go off the track ever so slightly, but that is Yayan up. Oh, and that's Ottens into the side of Jimmy Vyman, but that is now Stitchbury up into P6. And Ottens could think about making a return move here, but he's also got Matthias Penteler to think about, and he's got Matthias Penteler, oh, sending the dummy there. It's always a good thing to do if you've got no one behind you. You can be a little bit extra in the braking zone and have your opponent double think about, oh sorry, should I say think twice about turning in, and sometimes you can force them to go a little bit deep under braking if you pull that kind of dummy. The battle for the race lead could be about to change hands. We've just made it through turn 11, now going through turn 12, uphill through 13, under braking, defending the inside line goes Holman. Around the outside looks Svidovic, and the room is left for the inside line. And Wojtek might be in front very soon. Oh, minimum space left there by Holman. Just about. They didn't make contact. Everything is okay though. And where's Lucchese in all this? Just slightly out of it, but a good run here actually. Could see Lucchese mount a move into turn 1. I don't think it's going to be enough. But let's ride on board and see. We've got Weimann, Ottens, Pentela still very close to one another. And we've got Sarakadesla and, in fact, Dennis also mounting a challenge here for the lead of the race. Gareth Newton now drops down into P7 with relation to the team's championship. Wojtek now thinking about a move. Wojtek again having a little look, thinking about a move. Eager on the brakes, and that's Huss. Is that Huss and Collar who've come together? There's Max Nevenchany coming through. Now let's ride on with Nevenchany. So he is now up into P4. This changes things. Let's quickly take a look at how that happened. Was it Collar on Huss, or was it a mistake by Huss? Huss defends the inside. Oh, and he doesn't quite turn in. Collar does spin him round. That's not Hussein's fault, but I think Collar did expect him to turn in a little bit sooner. So, Nevenchany currently in P4. Let's take a look. Nevenchany crucially inside the top 15. This is going to get very, very tasty indeed in terms of the AM Class Championship. If Nevenchany can hang on to that P14, he will start on the front row of the grid for the final race. And if he can win that race, that could really bring it down to the wire. 3 minutes to go here, then we'll bring you the up-to-date scoring. But as we said, it was all eyes on Collar and Hussein Sarakadesla as to whether they came together. And they did in the end. Mr. Mackay is currently just in the way of Nevenchany. And interestingly, it's his teammate, or at least sister teammate, I think. I don't remember off the top of my head. But DXT, nonetheless, whose teammate is battling for the championship. So, Mackay will not want to, first of all, give up a podium. That's something that he won't want to do. And second of all, he won't want to let Nevenchany close the points gap even further on his teammate Howarth. And this will gain Max only 4 points, but hey, 4 points could be the difference. Oh, and look at this, Luke Lucchese. Svidovic has had a mistake. Luke Lucchese inherits the lead of the race with only 2 minutes to go. Let's see how that one happened. Is it just a mistake by Wojtek? It's a slowdown. It's a slowdown penalty for Wojtek, who maybe took too much of the outside, perhaps, of one of the, maybe turn 1, turn 2, I'm not sure. But Luke Lucchese now finds himself in the lead of the entire field. And to be honest, it's probably the first time he's been there in the final 2 minutes all season. Oh, Nevenchany. He's lost out to Steve Rubino, getting very tense there at the front. Now Rubino inherits that P3. The Suma guys in P6 and P7. Holman now takes the lead of the race. It's kicking off everywhere in both of these classes for the most crucial points positions that we have, and Svidovic and Lucchese coming awfully close. I think they did make contact there. And Holman, who led pretty much all of this race, now leads it again, and Svidovic in P2 and Luke Lucchese now dropping out of that top, well, to top position, and also second place as well. What else have we got going on? Here's Bostock, he is clear. Dennis Collar, he is clear. And Steve Rubino, he is not so clear. But that excitement sort of reset now, because Nevenchany is back in P5. But he could think about a move here on Rob Mackay, but I don't think that Rob's going to have all the speed, and Max is not going to be able to do anything about that by the time they get to turn 1. We are going to have one final lap. to decide the winner of the Pro Class Consolation race. Holman will want to do everything he can for his team, because they are fighting the Suma guys at the moment. They've had their lead cut and their championship cut. But a strong result by Holman, who finished in P8 last race, could be on for a podium unless things go wrong. He doesn't want to overdo it. He doesn't want to ask for too much by being too aggressive and ending up falling down the order. Wojtek leads Holman, leads Lucchese, a little bit wide by Wojtek. That won't be enough for a slowdown. Holman up the inside, Wojtek still around the outside. What about the reverse positions? Max still in the reverse position slots. Oh, and it's a late stand by Holman. Wojtek has left the room. Oh, that's what I said. Thank God he didn't get spun around, because that would have been asking a little bit too much. However, Lucchese, if he gets this exit right, he'll quite easily... Look, he's going to get him, surely. He's going to have to go the long way around. It might not be enough, actually. The line is quite close. Wojtek then does win the race in dramatic style. James Holman does everything he can for Audi Sim Sports in P2, and Luke Lucchese couldn't get on the top step. He finishes a strong podium. Here's James Bostock, who is about to convert that second race win of the night, as we keep referring to throughout the season. He's the only one to get a hat-trick of victories, and he's currently only one race away from that. Bostock wins the Consolation closely, followed by Dennis Collar, who gets another strong P2. Rob Mackay and Max Nevenchani did get Steve Rubino at the end, so Max is still within a chance here. He gets himself into that P4 slot. Hussein and Newton in P6. I'm just going to jot that down again, so it's +5 here. And I'll go silent while we have the warm-up and do some maths. Who doesn't love a bit of math? Okay, so the first bit of news. Let's say... Now, I don't want to rule and cancel the anticlimax too much, but it looks by my maths as though Max is 51 points. And confirmed there, yes, so Francois has done the maths as well. My maths, Francois, is by 1 point, so Max is now 51 points behind Howarth, going into a 50-point race, which means even if he was to win this final race, they would be separated by just a single point. So, by that then, James Howarth should be crowned the AM-Class champion, which we will all confirm later on. But if James is listening, then congratulations to you, mate. One hell of a season. And unfortunate for Max, who put up a great, great effort throughout the entire season to get where he has done. He wasn't really in the mix for the first half, and then the second half of the season he's really turned it up and he's come out with what will probably be a very strong P2 finish. As for the teams then, I haven't quite fully worked out the difference, which I'll do now, but I can tell you that it looks as though the Suma guys have yet again extended that margin. So, quick maths, and I'll be back. Okay, so it looks like we have... It looks like we have the Suma team, who this round brought in 107 points, and the RD Sim Sports team brought in 83 points. So that is a net difference of 24 points added on to the plus 77. Is that right? No, that's not right. Stand by. I think they're actually 49 points clear. Do I have a chance? I don't really have a chance to look it over that again, but I think they've extended that gap by 24 points this race, and adding that to the gap of 25 points that they had before means that they're now clear by 49 points going into the final race. So, to summarise then, the RD Sim Sports team need 50 points over the Suma guys if they are to bring home the title. If anyone fancies confirming that, then be my guest. And so that's just in time for the end of the warm-up, and we'll see the grid just on track. I'm not going to have a chance to go through the full results as a one-off. But I'm sure we can compromise that for the sake of trying to get these live standings in order. So let's take a look then at this grid instead. It's 5 drivers of the AM class: Bostock, Collar, Mackay, Nevin Charney, and then Rubino at the front to get us underway. Matt Hoyland, Ryan Ottens, Jimmy Vyman, Matthias Penteler, and Jan Stichbury, the top 10. Willem Boyter, Johan Ferry, Luke Lucchesi, Holman, and so over to the top 15. And then there is Hussein, P6 in class, P16 overall. Gareth Newton there next in the AM class. So it's a strong result still for the Suma guys. And looking at it in class, we've got Suma in 5, 6, and 7. And we've got RD Simsport in P4, P9, and P12. So definitely beneficial for the Suma team going into the final race. So we have the lights then. It's going to be Steve Rubino to get us underway, closely followed by Nevin Charney and Mackay and Collar and Bostock. And for the final time this season, the drivers are away, and it's a great start by Bostock and Matt Hoyland, who both meet each other in the middle of the circuit. Steve Rubino does get off the line well, and it's going to be he who leads. Mackay on the outside of Nevin Charney, Hoyland with a little bit of a wobble, Bostock with a wobble. That's going to invite pressure by all of those pro drivers in behind, and that's an Aura driver around the outside. There's Willem Boyter round and off the circuit. He's gone. And Lucchese, Fari sharing the track there. Svidovic and an Aura machine also getting through. It looks as though everyone's made it through the opening corners clean, apart from Willem Boyter, who's down there at the back of the grid. Hussein under pressure there, and I also saw a move for Rob Mackay. Let's take a look at the standings then. Looks as though Suma have lost out ever so slightly, and that's Pentela now, who's got up past Matt Hoyland. And who's that round? That's Jimmy Vyman, who's just struggling with his tyres early on here. A little bit of a skid there, but he's kept it in a straight line. So Rubino has a nice gap up there at the front, leading the AM class and leading the field. Rob Mackay in P3 overall, P2 in his class. And Ryan Otten's there. Who's that off the road? Is that Luke Lucchese? I think it is. Luke Lucchese all over the gravel trap there. And rejoins behind the 24 machine of the Suma guy. I think that'll be Gareth Newton. Yes, it is Lucchese all the way down there in P20 overall. And Nevin Charney, oh, on the grass. He's got Bostock for company. That's Nevin Charney into P4 in class now, with a little bit of a gap to Collar. But yes, as we saw, Max at the moment now just fighting for position with the championship all said and done. It looks as though he's got quite a strong run here. Out of the final corner, Johan Furi is down and around. He is stranded somewhere, and he's, I think, reset right back to the pit lane. Let's go and see what happened to Willem Boyter at the start. That's him around the outside of Johan Furi. Oh, and it's a Dunch there. I think, is that Collar or Fellows? It's either Collar or Fellows who knocks into Furi, who knocks into Boyter on the outside there. You can see the brake check. Furi reacts and unfortunately takes Boyter out of contention. Nevin Charney now down a few positions. Svidovic and Hoyland in front, and here's Holman. He's got pressure from Bostock in behind, currently battling for P3. And we aren't going to get a repeat of the hat-trick of victories by anybody new, but we could still have that repeat by the man with the record at the moment, James Bostock. We've referred to that pretty much every week since. It was quite a good achievement considering it was the first time that he had attended one of the sessions in the second round all the way back in June. And throughout time, no one has been able to do that. It was going to be a little bit of a worry, actually, thinking, God, is this going to be a recurring thing where the same driver wins all three races? But even with Svidovic, that has not happened all season long. Okay then, so now that things have settled down, Nevin Charney hasn't lost a position in class, but he's lost a position to Vyman, and he's got Hussein right in behind him here. Again, looking to score as many points as possible. They're now preparing to take down all the scores for the team's championships. Pentela does lead at the front, but that's not going to be enough to at all overturn that result from Svidovic. So that is also all but confirmed as well. I'm not going to talk about that now during the race. But Svidovic also, as expected, will come home with that title. And speaking of which, here is Holman and Svidovic currently battling away for P5 in class. Or P4 in class, should I say, and P5 on the track, with Steve Rubino actually still out front of Matheus Pentela, leading the field and leading his class. There was a drama for Newton earlier on, actually. Let's see what happened to him. Oh, it's him and Willem Boyter. Let's see what happened. Oh, and Graham doesn't quite get it slowed down, and he actually takes out, is that Dennis Collar, but Dennis keeps it in the right direction. Massive impact for Boyter, who loses parts on the front and the rear of the car. And also for Newton, so a bit of an optimistic move out of class for the man battling for championship points, and he's down there now in P12, and that will likely be where he finishes unless something else happens elsewhere. So that will be another 13 points for Newton, which will still help that order, but at the moment it's looking good for Penteler and Holman in the top 4 of their class. But Rob Sutherland, actually, look at that, Rob Sutherland out of the race, so big favour swings in the way of the Suma team, who are on course to bring home that championship. Speaking of which, here is the lead car, Bostock. Well, not the lead car in the race, but the lead car in the championship. Now, up and clear again. That G-League sandwich, we seem to see that quite often. Chioka and Vyman clearly similarly matched when it comes to their pace. And Penteler has got past Rubino, and he's now under pressure from Ryan Ottens. As he head through now turn 13. Rubino leaves the room. Ottens obliges and moves up and past. Minimum time lost there for Steve, who does well to hold that and not make a mess of it. He's got 6 seconds to Rob Mackay, so if he keeps things in order and does that with the rest of these pro drivers coming through, he likely won't lose too much time, and he'll find himself on the top step, potentially. Still 12.5 minutes to go of the championship season. Feels a bit strange saying that. I remember looking at the calendar back at the start of June thinking, God, it'll be ages until we get to the end of August. And here we are. Look at that. Speaking of minimising the time loss, let's see, it was 5.8 when he came out of the start-finish line. Let's see what it is after Rob Mackay passes turn 1. It's gone from 5.8 to 4.8, so a second loss by Steve in letting those pro drivers through, but that's probably a small price to pay for what will be okay, I think, with the sight that we're seeing of Mackay at the moment, who's got a lot to contend with. Still, in that sandwich, he's got Holland ahead of him. And then he's also got James Bostock for company, who will soon be on his tail once the G-League car makes his way through. Ostick and Lucchese out of position, battling down there for P10. James Holman now mounting a challenge on Stitchbury into the tricky turn 11. Oh, and a bit of contact. Both cars keeping it in the right order. Wojtek's now thinking about it with the offset run on the RD Sim Sports machine, who lunges too aggressively, far too aggressively, and I mean, I shouldn't be biased, but that's kind of what he was asking for there, and I think that's going to be Holman down. He's back on the track. He's got it facing the right way in quick time, but that was very late, and not much Ryan could really do to avoid that one. However, that has allowed Svidovic just to sweep up the inside. I'm going to try and catch that from Svidovic's point of view. Let's take a look at what he saw when the car ahead made a last-minute lunge. He sees it coming, breaks down nice and early, and he just finds that gap and squeezes on through. And that's probably the easiest move that he'll make all night. And now Holman over the curbs near Hoyland, staying ahead of Jeremy Chioka. And now looking to get the run on the exit of this corner. Is he going to be able to do it? Is Hoyland going to move over? No, he's not. Holman is going to make it through. Oh, and Chioka, I think, is that Chioka or Vyman? one of them lost it under brakes, I think, of their own accord. And let's see, is Rob Mackay going to get through there? No, he's not. The two leagues, G-League side by side. Luke Lucchese now very close in behind James Bostock and Ryan Ottens. Under pressure for P2. All the while, Matthias Penteler might just be able to get one more win under his belt if Ottens can keep Svidovic behind him for at least, let's say, at least another 3 laps, if not more. Not sure how many laps exactly will be left, but if Svidovic gets through anytime soon, it's going to be very, very difficult for Penteler to keep him ahead. Svidovic a second quicker than pretty much everybody. In fact, no, sorry, a second quicker than Ottens on the last lap, but only 0.3 quicker than Penteler on the previous lap, and he's in traffic. So I think once he gets set free, we could see those lap times tumbling down. Here's Lucchese now, all over the back of James Bostock, currently in P3, with eyes on Rob Mackay, but soon it's going to be eyes on Lucchese as Bostock pulls to the outside to let a few of these guys through. Is he also going to let the Aura driver through of Josh Ostick? I think he might, actually. Let's see. No, he's going to stay ahead, rightfully. Going to try and find the grip around the outside, but he doesn't. And Ostick stays put for now. Takes a little bit of sausage on the way through. And Svidovic is now past Ottens. Let's quickly see how we did that, just heading into turn 1. Nice and simple move. He'll be later on the brakes, and he'll get ahead as they make the turn in to the first corner. Ottens just thinking about fighting it, but no, it's over as you would expect. So now it's all eyes on the front for Svidovic, who looks to, in fact, will it be? Did Wojtek win the last race? I think he did, didn't he? I don't remember. I haven't even got that one jotted down because the championship was said and done. But could, I'm going to have to go back and check that, could Wojtek get that hat-trick that we've been talking about all season? Quite possibly. He did win, and he won the opening round as well, so eyes on Svidovic. Can he join Bostock in getting the hat-trick of victories? 2.8 seconds behind with 6.5 minutes to go. It's P1 in the championship, battling P2 in the championship for those reverse positions. And all the while, it's Rubino with a 7-second gap, so he's definitely got the pace over Rob Mackay. So without a mistake, it will be him who crosses the line first in the AM class. But Dennis Collar might have something to say to James Bostock here as they head down the start-finish straight. What a big whack of the curb there for Josh Ostick, who really got himself upset as he exited the first corner. .7 seconds now. The gap from Penteler to Svidovic, and as they cross the line, we'll bring you the latest lap times. Oh, and look at this. A bit of a wobble. Oh, and my God, that was close. Who was that? That's Ostick. Nearly got spun round there by Bostock as he came swooping through turn 11. And is that a late send there on Rob Mackay by Dennis Collar? Yes, it is. Doesn't quite get it done. Nevin Charney thinking about going around the outside. He's going to have the inside line into turn 14. That's Nevin Charney up one place. And he's got ahead of Collar before they reach the next corner. Wojtek with a purple lap. Let's check out the last lap times. Where can I find that again? Right here. So we see there it was nearly, well, best part of 3.5 tenths quicker for Sviridovich. But that kind of pace is not going to be enough to get him on the top step. And there's contact. There's contact between Koller and Sarek Adesla. And Danny Weir has got himself through, and Danny's going for it. Lunges up the inside of Dennis Koller. He gets the move done, and so does Hussein. Wide by Koller. These two, you can see, very feisty with one another. I do kind of want to go back and see what happened. Let's see if we can see it from this angle. From Danny Weir. Just about. Oh yeah, and Dennis just completely cuts across the nose of Hussein, who looked as though he had enough in it, and Danny gets that move done. And then another one, which I just cut away from there. Another lovely one up the inside of Koller. So opportunistic by Danny Weir to get himself up into the top 5. And unfortunately, I can't see Danny on my results summary, with him not being in the top 12. But that'll be a very strong result for Mr. Weir if he can stay where he is. Choker and Lucchese pushing each other around the track at the moment. With just 3 minutes to go then, it looks as though Matthias is going to have enough in the tank to keep Sviridovich behind. It'll cost him a mistake now if anything's going to change. The pace is all said and done, so Sviridovich won't get that hat-trick of victories, and at least Pentela will have in some way the last laugh. Although look at that again, half a second difference, 4 tenths actually, between Sviridovich and Pentela on those last laps. And there'll be 2 more laps of racing, I would imagine, before we are done for this season. 9.5 seconds from this man, Steve Rubino, down to James Bostock, and he's actually got 5 pro drivers. Steve currently P6 on the road, so a very, very stellar effort by him to keep himself. Look at that, 5 pros in front, 5 pros behind, and a Steve Rubino in the middle. And this will be a great result for him. Again, I'm not sure if he's won so far this season, but if he hasn't, then he's about to do that. 9.5 seconds down to James Bostock, likely 10 by the time the race ends. And that will be one hell of a dominant performance from the Hobo Racing 34 machine. Still a very strong night for this man, the 66 Suma GP2 Honda driver, who is heading around his final couple of laps before we all but confirm their championship success. Looks like the Suma guys will be picking up that championship trophy. We will do some confirmation on that. Reminder that the RD Sim Sports guys need to overturn that result by 49 points. Pentela in P1, Holman in P5, and Sutherland out, which is absolutely crucial considering that Newton, Hussein and James are all currently bringing home some points. That will probably have it all wrapped up. All not said and done though for the top 6. Dennis Koller still thinking about a move, and let's just watch on as they come round the final corner. This will be the final lap of the championship. I mean, what a season it's been for one. My first season in some sort of semi-professional comms setup. I've done some amateur things in the past a few years ago, but what an experience it's been with all the setups, all the technology, all the software. And it's been a pleasure to bring you guys this championship. And we, of course, look forward to the new series that we have. We'll talk about that briefly before we end for this evening, but we will pivot over to GT4 next season, which is a lot closely tied to the GT3 championship, which will bode very well indeed. Here we go then. We saw last race, blue flagged Pentela, just in behind Sviridovich. This time we see racing Pentela 1 second clear of Sviridovich, and you know, there's still a chance here for a slight mistake. He's now within a second, but I'm pretty confident that Pentela's going to get it done it would require a mistake here under braking, which he hasn't done. The rest of it is pretty smooth sailing. Gets it tucked in nicely. No need to be overly cautious, but no need to send it either. And we can see the gap there live to Sviatovic. So to close out the championship and to close out his season, the championship wasn't his, but a race win in the feature certainly is. And it's Mateusz Penteler who wobbles himself across the line ahead. Oh, he spins as well for good measure in the wall, but Wojtek Sviatovic comes home in P2, a deserving championship winner, your pro class champion for ESR TCR Season 1. Ryan Otten's rounding off the podium, and Steve Rubino, what a result for him. It's P1 in class for the American 34 machine. And now crossing the line are your team's champions. Hussein in the wall. That's not how you want to win a championship, exactly. But he's parked it up nicely behind Steve Rubino. Mr. Bostock, he keeps it in a straight line. And he has led his team to a deserving team's championship victory. Hussein has quit out already. And here is Gareth Newton, who joins those two. And he'll get his hands on a team's championship trophy. And congratulations to everybody involved in the championships. And as we finish up here, I'm just going to go ahead and confirm those numbers. So yes, the Suma team extended their margin by 7 points in that race, meaning that overall they win the championship by 56 points. So confirmation then that it is the Suma guys who lead the way. So a quick look then at the overall race results before we speak to some of the drivers ahead. So Mateusz Penteler comes across the line to win in the final feature race of the Season 2 Championship. Winner Wojtek Sviatovic, who is waiting for us in the interview room. Ryan Otten's in P3, Jan Stichbury and James Holman in the top 5, with Matt Hoyland, Luke Lucchese, Jimmy Vyman in the top 8, Jeremy Chioga in P9 and Josh Ostick in P10. Johan Furey and Willem Boyter next in the top 12. Willem 4 laps down and Sutherland unable to finish the race. And in the M class, it's Steve Rubino who gets himself on the top step of the podium, I think, for the first time this season. Does it as the last time of asking, ahead of James Bostock, the Suma GP2 Honda Team's championship leader, and Rob Mackay, a great podium for him as well. Max Nevinciani and Danny Weir the top 5, with Hussein Sarikadesla and Dennis Collar in P6 and P7. Andrew Fellows the top 8, with Oliver Lumsden and Owen Seward the top 10. And Gareth Newton, another championship winner for the teams, with Francois Brandet finishing a lap down for DXT Audi Motorsports. Okie dokie then. Let's get ourselves prepared to bring in Mr. Wojtek, who we will have a brief word with as he comes across and comes home to win the opening season here at Evolution Sim Racing Touring Car Championship. Wojtek, are you with us, mate? How are you and how was that?
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm doing very good, mate. Very good, very good. So, congratulations, first of all. Obviously, confirmation that you are the Pro Class champion. So, I guess I'll ask, how does that feel and how was that session's race tonight?
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I'm very happy with the results. It's just interesting that 2 tenths per lap on most of the tracks was just enough, to qualify in top, stay in top. So there wasn't that much of a variance in race 1, but yeah, race 2 and 3, that's all where you kind of had to work hard to bring the points to win the championship.
Absolutely, and we said we've been making jokes throughout the season that no one's managed to get those 3 race wins apart from Mr. Bostock in the second round. You were very close there. We thought the third race was going to be a little bit more of a struggle, and then you managed to get up past Duquesne and into the second place, and then you really brought the lap time down and were pretty much right on the back of Penciller in the end, but you didn't quite manage to do it. But nonetheless, 2 P1s and a P2 is a great way to end the season.
Oh yeah, definitely. All the other guys got me a lot when they were going too wide and going off track, so I just had to wait to go by the incident. So that's how I gained a lot of positions, and yeah, quite quickly get up to the top 3 where I could start pushing, laps. But yeah, as you said, there was not enough time to catch up to Matthias.
Totally right. So how was that track? It's a tricky track. We saw some people in the chat earlier in the week sort of complaining about maybe not knowing it as well as some others. How do you find this? Is it a track that you enjoy? It's certainly a roller coaster of a circuit.
Yeah, it will be pretty much the same. I started doing some practice just half an hour before our official practice, and yeah, it takes a while to get your braking points and stuff. I don't have that much mileage in this track, and loads of blind corners really makes it difficult. So yeah, I still managed to figure it out, and yeah, be on top today as well.
Yeah, how were you finding the crest at turn 10-11? For me, that's one of the trickiest corners on the track, and I'm not sure how it is in the touring car, but are you braking before you crest or after you crest?
I think I know which corner you're talking about. I suppose the most difficult. I actually didn't look if it's before or after. I just try to just brake gently and wait. What's going to happen, the car will tell me what to do next. So rather brake early and kind of bring the constant trail braking all the way into the corner. If the car starts to slide, maybe drop 1 gear to keep it under control. But yeah, if you approach it easy, try not to overcook it, then it's manageable.
Good stuff. Right, well, congratulations once again. Is there anyone you'd like to mention, anyone you'd like to shout out, or anything you'd like to say before the season comes to a close, Mr. Wojtek?
Yeah, thank you for yourself for doing excellent broadcast. I know it's really hard to do it on your own, so you're doing an excellent job. All the drivers in the league, doesn't matter your pace, it's all about having people to race every week, and that's what a really cool stuff about having a league racing. Matthias, he kept me honest all season. I wish it was a little bit closer maybe, but still, it like I said at the beginning, it's quite interesting that minimal gap of pace you have, that was just enough, to keep it kind of staying ahead,
Totally, mate. Well, good stuff. And we're going to speak to a couple of other guys, but unfortunately, we don't have any other champions in with us. So, again, congratulations to you, and it's been a great season. And thanks for joining me tonight for a quick word. Always good to speak to yourself. Good stuff, man. Thank you. See you soon. Okay, so good to hear from Wojtek, and I'm seeing the interview room filling up. I may not get a chance to speak to everybody, but to close out the season, let's definitely go and bring Mr. Fellows in. Andrew, hello, mate. How's it going?
Good, mate. You?
Yeah, mate. Good. That was very eventful, as you can imagine. Me trying to do the maths as we went, and I think I did quite a good job of it. But overall, how was that for you? I don't recall where you finished, so you're gonna have to fill me in if you remember.
It was terrible. So qualifying was good. I qualified P2, so I was happy with that. Unlucky not to qualify P1. Race 1, I was doing okay. I led for the first few corners. Then James got the run on me on the exit of the last corner. It's cold tyres. That corner's horrible. So he got me there, and then some of the pro drivers were behind me, which is really weird. And they got in front of me, and that then took me in the back with Hutty and Dennis. So no problem. And then I ended up behind Dennis at one point. I ran into the back of him into turn 3. Turn 3, I think it is. And I only run into the back of him ever so slightly, and it gave me a 0x. So no biggie, but then it meatballed me. So that
Really?
was my race over. Yeah. So not even a 4x, 0x, and it meatballed me. So that's why I went through the pits.
Yeah, we caught that actually, because Mateus did the same thing. We were watching the pair of you thinking that you were going to do well, and you both ended up getting the drive-throughs. Or the meatball in your case, yeah.
So yeah, that was race 1. Race 2, unfortunately, trying to come through the pack, I tagged Francois slightly. He was able to continue, so there's no biggie for him. But I ended up spearing off the track. So that did that race, and then race 3. I think Gareth ran into the back of Will, which then
yes, he did.
Speared me off the track.
Yes, that was you. Yeah.
Yeah, that.
You kept it going just about, right? Did you keep it on the road afterwards? Yeah,
I did. Yeah. I think I finished like P8 or something. So I don't know where I'm going to be in the championship. I know I won't have caught Mac. I think James will have passed Mac, so I think it's going to be maybe, if I'm lucky, P4, but it's going to be probably P5 or P6 maybe.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I obviously didn't do the maths not that low down. It's still very high at the championship. But there was no Rob tonight. I don't think Oliver had the best results. James obviously did. So yes, it will be likely Howarth, Nevin Charney, Bostock, yourself, and then either Lumsden or Smith. So probably a top 4, which I guess if you'd given yourself that at the start of the season, you probably would have taken it, right?
Oh, definitely. Bit gutting after leading the championship for quite a while. But, a few bad races and obviously things didn't come my way. Happy to have got a win and happy to have had some really, really good racing with a lot of people throughout the championship, which has been a credit to the championship, and some excellent commentary from yourself.
I appreciate that. Are you joining us next season? Have you signed up for that, or are you not available?
I am indeed. I've signed up for GT4, so I'll be with you guys. Looking forward to it.
Yes, absolutely, mate. Good stuff. I think I just cut off. I think you lost your audio there for a moment, but we heard what you said, so we look forward to that too. And as we say, we thank you very much for joining us and taking part in the championship, and also getting stuck in with some interviews as well, which, you've been the consistent guy to join me, so I appreciate that. It's always good when someone takes an interest. And yeah, thanks for joining me again tonight, and good result overall in the championship, and we'll wish you the best of luck ahead of the GT4 championship.
That's perfect. Thanks, Joe.
Awesome, man. Have a good night, and we'll speak soon.
And you, mate. Cheers.
Cheers, mate. Okie dokie then. So, too many people to go through, to be honest. So, I'm going to leave the admins out of it for now, and we'll just bring in... I'll tell you what, I haven't spoke to Owen, actually, all season. So, let's bring in Mr. Owen Seward for a quick chat. Someone that we haven't spoke to, in fact, for the whole season. So, Owen, good evening, mate. How's it going?
Hello, how are you doing?
Yeah, it's good. I'm looking down the order. Obviously, there's lots of people who are looking for a chat. I'll bring all the admins in together and we'll go through the rest of it. But I thought between you, Danny and Francois, it'd be good to have a chat because we've not spoken all season. So how was your night? Forgive me, I have no idea where you finished. So just talk me through your night.
It's not hard to find me. You just got to look at the bottom of the list. But
very good.
Good. No, it's been an interesting season. Just trying to. I've not been at all the races, but the ones that I have been at, I've just trying to learn the car. It's a bit different to the obviously GT3 and GT4s, and it's been fun. It's nice to see everyone on track.
And how did you find the circuit in particular tonight? I know it's a very tricky one for some people, and maybe if you don't have the best practice around the circuit, and if you don't understand the car too well, it's probably one of the worst circuits that someone can arrive at. Yeah,
well, this is the first time I've ever been on the track tonight, so I was blind. I think T11, T8 to T11 there's a lot of blind crests. But yeah, hard one.
And I was asking Wojtek about how he dealt with turn 10, 11, which is when you come over the crest and then you've got to get it slowed down for the right-hander. For me, I'm seeing a massive crash that I missed, I think, earlier in the race on your replay. Not involving you, but some cars ahead. In fact, that was at turn 11. So you were the beneficiary of an incident in the feature race there then, where you must have got past 4 or 5 machines. Talk me through that if you remember it.
Yeah, so I remember coming round and I think I was behind Day for front hoist, or however you say it. And then I think I had about, a tenth of a second to react. I saw him sliding left and I think I had a 50-50 and just got lucky, to be fair. But yeah, it was hard. that was a hard bit.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Toe brown.
I can imagine. So we obviously conclude now, and I asked Andrew, are you joining us as well for GT4 next season, or is that you?
I am, yes.
Good, and I'm sure that'll probably be more up your aisle perhaps than the TCR.
Yeah, I've done a few officials in it, enjoying it in the McLaren for next season. So yeah, should be fun, hopefully.
Good stuff, mate. Well, I appreciate you joining us to close out the season, and best of luck in that championship this time in a couple of weeks.
Awesome, cheers. Thanks for the broadcast as well, mate. They're brilliant. Sorry,
mate. Yeah, go on, actually. I always forget to say this. Anyone you'd like to shout out and anything you'd like to summarise about your season or anybody else?
Big shout out to the ORA guys and also DXT. I've had a lot of conversation with everybody. Nice to make some friends, so just nice to see everyone on track, really.
Absolutely, mate. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. The racing's good, but it's the community at the end of the day. So, good stuff. I'll let you go now, and we'll bring in the rest of the team to carry on with the broadcast. I appreciate all that, and we'll see you soon in a few weeks. See you, mate.
Bye.
Okie dokie. So, I'm going to have to cut that short because we need to get on with the final phase of the evening. So, I'm going to bring in Mr. Bostock for a quick word, and then we'll get the other two organisers in Hoyland and Mackay. Evening, mate. How was that for you? Great session, and particularly those opening 2 races. I thought you were going to be on for another hat-trick.
Me too, mate. Me too. Almost. Steve Rubinho was just too good, wasn't he, in race 3? So
he was miles.
Yeah, all credit to him, mate, for keeping up with the pro guys. But yeah, nearly had it, mate. Nearly had it. But no, cracking nights racing. Really enjoyed it. Didn't expect that at all. Like, not much practice, as you know. So did a bit today, and it came out of nowhere, really. So managed to get my starts right for once. And although I did nearly get disqualified actually on the end of the qualifying, I reversed up the track to do some more starts. It disqualified me out that session, but luckily it was after the checkered flag. So
wow.
So no, good night's racing, mate. Really, I got we were just hoping to put a reasonable performance in for the teams championship. Like, I think James Howarth has just been absolutely another level in AMS this season. So fair play to him. Big shout out to him. We were just out for the teams really, and kind of came from nowhere. So I'll take it. I'll take it, mate. I'll take it.
Yeah, you and Huss and Gareth particularly consistent, but you and Huss right up there at the front of the field. And as I'm sure you're aware, you've by my maths, you've brought home the championship by 56 points. So a massive haul. Congratulations to the 3 of you, and I guess you can be the spokesperson on behalf of the team. So how does that feel to be the team's champion of the first season?
Well, Gareth will be really pleased because he absolutely hates this car that me and Huss forced him into.
Oh, right, okay.
So every single week we get a load of stick from Gareth. But no, we've really enjoyed it, mate. Like, as you know, it's the first season in TCR. We decided, 3 of us, to go in the Honda because it seemed to turn better. And yeah, we've been consistent. When one of us has not been able to race, the other 2 have made. Like, I think Gareth last week didn't really fancy it, but he got a few work commitments and stuff, and he kind of turned up because we knew it all contributed. So yeah, I mean, if we have, we have. But we've just enjoyed the season as a whole, really. Bit of banter in the chat, as you know. So yeah, overall very, very good, mate. I'm looking forward to watching it back.
Yeah, it was a very entertaining race, and they absolutely flew by. But on a track like this, you can't really expect anything less. There was a lot of good moves and risky moves as well. but that's what this kind of circuit brings
did you
out of
catch
everybody.
the move? Did you catch the move in race 3 against Rob Mackay?
I don't know. Off the top of my head, I'd have no idea. I have no idea.
It was very, very, very close. So yeah, I thought I was going to have some massive apologies to make for that, but luckily we managed to stay separate. So yeah, all good, mate. All good.
Right. Well, what I'm going to do now then is I'm going to leave you here. I'm going to bring the other two in, and then do the necessary preparations, and we'll get on with the rest of the broadcast. Okie dokie. So, let me just double check. We've got everything in order. So we've got James Bostock, Hoyland, and Rob Mackay with us. So all the guys who've helped with the organisation of the season have all joined us for the draw, and then we'll give some closing remarks before we finish for the season. So we've got our list of eligible drivers. We said at the start of the season we would put on a bit of a draw for everybody who attended 8 of the 10 championship rounds, and so we'll pull 2 names at random, and those guys will get themselves a little voucher to potentially spend on a GT4 car, maybe another track, or maybe something completely unrelated. So we should have people who are interested. I posted the message, and let's see who we get out the hat first. Okay, Mr. Ryan Ottens is the winner of the first prize, so congratulations to Ryan. We did joke just on there before, we've removed all of our names, or my name wasn't in there, but these 3 so kindly said, take us out, it would be unfair if we were in there, so the odds have been slashed, and everyone now stands a better chance. Let's go one more time, and then that will be pretty much everything said and done. Second up there, is it going to stay on Newton? Just into Wojtek. So, huge night there for Svidovic. So, congratulations to Wojtek. Unfortunate for Gareth, that would have been something for him, wouldn't it? The teams and then a little extra something. But great news for Wojtek. So, congratulations to Ottens and Svidovic. You guys will get your hands on some of those vouchers. Right. So that's it for things here. I'm going to switch back quickly to iRacing, and then we'll give, well, I don't know, Hoyland, Rob, do you guys have anything you want to say regarding the season? And then we'll close out with James to talk about the upcoming championship.
At times, especially at the start of the season, things were a little bit, I don't want to say messy, a little bit over-eager from some people at times, but I really think once people found the level and we got to see some really good fights. Obviously, we've got the guys up the front that have just been insane on pace. Like Wojtek deserved his title like hugely. The things he can do with the TCR car like made me incredibly jealous. But yeah, congrats to him. Congrats to James. Obviously, he couldn't be here today, so I'll say a little congratulations to him on his behalf. Yeah, otherwise, thanks for everyone taking part, and hopefully we'll see everyone come back next season for GT4.
Absolutely. And Rob, anything for you?
Matt's pretty much said everything that I think there is to say. Just thank you to everyone who's put the work in every week to put the races on and give us a good show to watch back after when we watch the commentary stream back.
Good stuff, good stuff. And I will share those remarks as well. I mean, it's been such an entertaining championship to watch. The 10 weeks have absolutely flown by, and before we know it, we'll be right underway for a brand new series. And that's GT4 for everyone who, I mean, if anyone lives under a rock who didn't already realise that. And James, anything you'd like to say about that championship? Maybe a quick summary about what's to come?
Yeah, mate. So we've decided, I think, well, as you know, us four decided we were going to alternate between TCR and GT4. So we've been very fortunate to fill our GT3 grid so quickly that we get new members arrive in the league, and sometimes the gap between GT3 and TCR is too far. So we hoped that kind of the GT4s would fill that slot in the middle, replicating the structure that we do in GT3. So 3 classes, Evo, Premier and Elite, and same sort of iRating bands. Few differences from GT3. So first of all, will be more of a sprint format. So there's 3 different formats. We've got 3 times 20-minute races, 2 times 30-minute races, and then we've got a 15-minute race and a 45-minute, which will need a pit stop. Standing starts, which is something that I know that some of the members of the league absolutely love, some of them absolutely hate, but that'll keep it a bit different. And also, you know, as you know, we moved to open setups for GT3, so this gives us a chance to have GT4s running on fixed setups, 5 different cars, and yeah, really looking forward to it. I think sign-ups have been open for 3 days now, maybe 4 maximum. And I think we've got 40 seats out of the 60 already taken. So testament to kind of the community, I think. Obviously, we all kind of put a shift in to make sure it's run well. Super excited to get you back on comms, because I think you do an awesome job. As good as anybody out there, I'm absolutely confident to say. So yeah, dead excited for the new season. And I know you're going to be missing a couple, so I'm going to have to find somebody that will do a half-decent job.
I wonder who that might be.
Half decent job, and yeah, we'll have to see, mate. Won't we? There could be a giggle. That's all I could say. But yeah, so looking forward to it. So thanks for everybody for turning up on the TCRs. I think I'll echo what Matt said. I know that at times people kind of complained and said it was a difficult league, and you know, people complain about us having a steward system, but I'd like to think that we run it as fair as we can, and you don't always agree with the outcome, but that's why we have sort of 4 or 5 stewards to give an opinion and a vote, and you know, we fall out as stewards quite a lot each week, deciding and making sure we take the right decision. So you know, people put a lot of money and a lot of time into the sim racing. We've got to try and put on a reasonable show for them, and well organised, which I think we do. And in the main, the people that have hung around, and you know, 25 cars on the grid tonight, which is half for the final round. I think that's testament to the people that appreciate what we do, have hung around and stuck with us, which we're really grateful for. And hopefully, you know, big welcome to the new people that are joining us for next season in both GT3 and GT4, and we'll hopefully carry on and have another good season.
Absolutely, mate. Very well said. And to you as well, you know, a lot of work that you put in that the likes of us 3 can't really do or don't really do, and you're the one who took the chance and brought in a second championship, which again, a lot of hard work has gone into it, and in the end it's been well worth it. So it's definitely been an evolution, you could say, pardon the pun, but you know, it really has been.
I see what you've done there.
Oh dear, well, you know, it was a risk, but you know, it came off. Over a year, hasn't it been now, I think, since we launched Season 1 back in the GT3 Ferrari. and we have come a long way since then, so it'll be a new change next season. As we say, 2/3 of the grid for GT4 already filled up in a matter of days, in fact only 2 days, and the GT3 grid filled up in a similar amount of time. 60 out of 60, only 20 seats to go, so if anybody isn't already signed up, make sure that you get the payment sent into James, get the seat secured, and we'll be underway for pre-season in just a couple of weeks' time, ahead of the 10 championship rounds. So thanks to all of you guys for joining me. I'll close up as we always do, and until next time, I hope you enjoy the rest of your week and the rest of your evening. Okie dokie then. Good way to round up that. Good bit of fun. Congrats to Ottens and to Svidovic. The irony of winning a championship and then winning a little draw. God, you could leave the fun for somebody else. But hey, the system has done what it's done. And that is going to be us wrapped up. So from me, it's been a great 10 weeks already. As I said earlier, the start of June, August felt a long time away. And all of a sudden, it's been done. And something that James said earlier, to get 25 cars on the grid for the final championship round is very good, because only really 8 of those or 10 of those had anything to fight for, and the guys have shown up and made it not so easy for all of them to just walk it and bring home their respective championships. Some have put up a good effort, a good fight. Commiserations to Nevin Charney and Penciller and the RD Sim Sports guys, who were up there for most of the championship and led for the last few weeks, but in the end Suma stay ahead of them and the Flatline Racing team, who were unfortunately never really in contention tonight. That's going to be it from me. As James rightly said, I'm missing the first few rounds. I'm away for a month doing a bit of travelling, which will be very good, and I'm sure for those of you in the server who I speak to frequently, you'll see some updates of where I am and how things are going. So there will be no pre-season broadcasts. There will be cover. No guesses as to who that might be for the first 2 rounds, and then I'll be back for the 3rd round to take you all the way through the following 2 months up until the start of December for what will be, I'm sure, a very entertaining GT4 championship, something that is a little bit better suited as a follow-on to our Thursday GT3 series. So I've thoroughly enjoyed this. I've thoroughly enjoyed the evening tonight, and I appreciate everybody for staying so late. Still nearly 20 people watching on all this way. A little bit of a longer stream than usual, but it's been a good one, and we'll speak to you. Well, I'll actually speak to you in about 6 weeks' time. So until then, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next season.